I know who to trust. I come around me, we sizing them up. Call up the gang, they lining it up. Fading it, taping it up with the cut. I had a dream, I was ready for it. Lord told me, hey Dyllyn, you headed for it. Know my future been break up and overpouring. Know my demons, they been trying to overthrow it.
What's up, everybody? How you living? Hope you living well. Today I got for you one of my top 5 rappers ever. We got Nas and his new Magic album. I haven't listened to it yet. I don't even think I listened to his last album, if I'm being 100% honest, King Disease 2. Yeah, I don't think I listened to... Actually, I listened to 1 or 2 songs. I didn't listen to it like I did with King Disease 1 and the Lost Tapes. Like, those went hard for me. So I love, like, and I've listened to all his other stuff. I know I'm young. They was all out before I was born, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear it. I know enough about Nas where I love him. And so I was excited when he dropped this. It's kind of like an R&B slump right now for music. So I was like, I'll dive into that rap realm. It's going to be a little newer for me. But I can pick out bars. I may not pick out all of them, but I do just as good as your favorites, you know? So hit that like and subscribe down below. Hit your comments. And let me hear your favorite rapper of all time. Because while Nas is in my top 5, my favorite rapper... Oh, there's so many. There's so many different categories. My favorite rapper is probably Cole. But like as for an entire catalog, like the artist catalog collection or whatever. But like, who got me into rap was Drake and his Take Care project, because it was like I was raised on mainly R&B, and Drake's Take Care kind of was that R&B rap fusion that pulled me into rap a little bit, you know, and like it was what I needed. It eased the jump from R&B to rap for me. And then as my favorite like pure rapper when I was growing up was Logic, because his mixtape, I don't like, and it may be a meme now to make fun of him, but his mixtapes and his first 2 albums, especially his first album, all of those things are hard. Like if you go back and listen to those, you can't tell me he's not a good rapper off of that. If you are, you're not true to yourself. You're not true to rap. You're just like what everyone else is saying. Because that man could rap. I don't care what anybody says on that. I even have a Logic hoodie. I may have rocked one in one of these videos. I don't know. But yeah, the question of the day is, who's your favorite rapper, and put why, because I could get an idea of what y'all like. But anyways, we're gonna get into Nas's Magic album. It's 9 songs, 30 minutes. It's actually shorter than I thought. I'm hoping Hit Boy is his producer here, because him and Hit Boy work so well together. Hit Boy is my favorite producer, and him and Nas normally do well together. I forgot what song they did in I think it's Ultra Black, or maybe Hit Boy produced all of King Disease. I don't know. No, it was Ultra Black. There we go. But they just work so well together. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see if he's here. All right, so we're gonna get into the first song, called Speechless. And guess what? It's produced by Hit Boy, so I'm excited. I'm gonna be listening. The beat's probably gonna be jumping. I can't wait to hear this whole thing. It's about a 3-minute song, so let's get into it.
Great. I'm 21 years past the 27 club. It's like I went back into my past and then I sped it up. Robert Johnson, Winehouse, and Morrison found what heaven was. Heaven on earth, this shit is magic with no fairy dust. Dog, I'm telling it like it is. You gotta deal with the consequence. When you running the niggas' cribs, nigga, you better be ready to sit. No Dyllyn.
Okay, so I may have to, for rap, and especially like this, there's so many words that you may have to cut them up in between. I'm gonna stop at the end of this first verse. First off, Hit Boy, the beat's working already, and I can tell there's another beat switch coming up, or maybe a beat drop. One of the two is coming up. As for his wordplay, man, I swear he switched flows like 3 times, because he did that little da-da-da-da-da-da at the end. I can't remember what it was for the first, but there was it felt like for the first 2 bars, there was, first 2 or 3 bars, there was one flow, next 2 or 3 was another, and then the last 4 or 5 was that last one. Oh my... He put a lot into the first, minute and a half of a song. So the first half of the song, he opens up with saying he's 21 years past the 27 club. So he's obviously what 48, if I can do math. Yeah, he's 48. And then I think the 27 club, it's familiar. I think that is, well, actually, hold up. 27 Club. That's not a real thing. That is, we have the Robert Johnson, Amy Winehouse, and I can't remember who Morrison is. But I think Winehouse, did she die at 27? Hold up. Yeah. Sorry. Amy Winehouse did die at 27. So I think 27 Club must be normal for like public figures to die at 27 or whatever, potentially. Normally, probably. Well, I know Amy Winehouse was drugs. I don't know who Morrison is. It's supposed to be Jim Morrison. I don't remember who Jim Morrison is. Robert Johnson was the blues legend. Okay. So I had to look up these names because some of them I'm familiar with, some of them I'm not. Robert Johnson was a blues legend. He died of drugs, or it was maybe alcoholism for him. Then Jim Morrison was another American singer, rock, and his was drugs. Okay, so yeah, so that whole first verse is talking about public figures dying due to drugs at 27, and he's saying he lived 21 years past that, so he's maybe slight flex. I don't know, or maybe he's talking about the effect on drugs and this public celebrity lifestyle, and how they don't go hand in hand. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too into it. We're in the first verse. so another thing he hit is, the only thing undefeated is time. The second is the internet, and the third is his rhyme. So everyone knows time. You can't, like, Father Time, something you can't beat. Unless your name is LeBron James for the next couple of years. He's done his damnedest to fight off. Him and Tom Brady have done his damnedest to fight off Father Time. But it is what it is. Then the second, but eventually time will come for them too. It's just not theirs yet. Anyways, second is the internet. Yeah, because it's just got so much information. So it's hard to, you can't really beat that. If they want to come for you, it's coming for you, and it's over for you. And number 3 is this Ron kind of flexing about himself, saying no one can beat him. Even at 48, he's the best rapper there is. So yeah, we're going to leave that alone. We're going to get back into it. Sorry, I paused long enough, but he's doing his damnedest on this, so let's run it back.
Pick her down on this love rapper, Betty Broker, the arrogance of a crackhead, batted a weed smoker, or a pill taker who hated the still wine drinker, a killer who used a gun to hate on a knife swinger. This lawn chair in the hood, sitting comfortably. I must be insane, giving you bars, running companies. I'm done with the redundancies. Checking all my history, making content for Viacom, licensing music to Tiffany's. I come from Dope Dyllyn.
Okay, verse 2. So I'm probably going to do every verse, not really going to focus on the chorus. Chorus is just, I'll touch those at the end. But he opens verse 2 saying, pick it down on his luck rapper, Betty broke with the arrogance of a crackhead, mad at a weed smoker, or a pill taker who hated a distilled wine drinker, and then a killer who used a gun to hate on a knife swinger. First off, creative as hell right now, but it's a bunch of people that worried about somebody else when they should be worried about improving their own situation, is what he's talking about. And the way he described it was nice as hell. If I'm like, that's how you, when we talk about what makes a rapper great and what makes what differentiates rappers is the ability to say something, but say it in a way that's creative and that no one's done before. Like, so rather than just saying work on yourself and stop worrying about others and work on yourself, he makes this whole gives you this whole picture in your head of a bunch of people that do that, and just saying like you shouldn't be like that. And it gets the same point across just as effectively, and probably even more so because it's reiterated so many times with so many different examples of people doing it, that like it just works. Then he touches on, I think he moves on from that saying you get the idea. Moves on to saying educate yourself, find 10 different areas of interest and spread your bets out. Like common saying in ways like you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So he's like, take 10 different interests in your life and start putting some effort into all of them and just see which ones pan out for yourself and go in those directions that work out. But it's just talking about ways to bring yourself to success. And it kind of just sounded like black empowerment lately, because I know, well, let me not even say lately. You may have been since the beginning of time. I don't know like his first albums like word for word and everything. I just have a lot of them saved. But between this King's Disease, I feel like it's been a lot more. He's put a lot of it out, so it's just back to black empowerment and whatnot. So yeah, then he flexes with his own stuff, because with rap you gotta have your own flexing bars. Talking about, I must be insane giving you bars running companies. I'm done with the redundancies, checking on my history. And then saying he makes content for Viacom, licenses music to Tiffany's, and he's just saying how much he does to be successful and how rap's worked out for him and why he's so successful in his life. So yeah, go ahead and flex. I ain't mad at you. So now we're gonna close this song out. Alrighty, that was Speechless. I think that man did a nice ass job for a debut album. Well, not debut album, debut track, like the first song on the album. It was nice. The chorus wasn't my favorite, and honestly, I don't think I loved the beat as much as I thought it was going to, like the way it started off. I didn't get the transition like I wanted to, but it was good. Nas was always great in his verses, which is all that matters. I touched on what I needed to touch on from those earlier. So we're going to move right into Meet Joe Black, track number 2. Also produced by Hit Boy, so I'm hoping Hit Boy produced this whole album. So let's get into it and see.
Why would I ever have to cop a chain again when the QB chain birth moves the chains in the game? No post office, we stamp in time. Took a slice out of the big apple, made apple pies. Families leave me out of the weasel shit. Be cool when you see me, I'm hot at all that rap diva shit. The hood know you pussy, so we don't buy or believe in it. Locked in on the instrumental, I took back the key to this.
Okay, first verse, first line. He doesn't even give you like anything to ease into this. He just goes straight into it. He says, "Why would I ever cop a chain again when the QB chain birthed most of the chains in the game?" So, reading it first, I was like, "This doesn't make sense. QB is quarterback," and I was like, "What the hell does a quarterback have to do with chains?" But first off, what he's rapping about QB being Queensbridge's home, like his home borough, I think it is. Just talking like, because we all know he claimed New York is supposed to be the birthplace of rap, so I guess he's talking about Queensbridge being like spawning so many rappers, and so I guess in his sense, in his wordplay, he's saying them chains are coming from Queensbridge and all, and they should be paying homage there. And then he says, took a slice out of the Big Apple, made apple pies family size, saying he just like Big Apple obviously being New York. He's saying he kind of made it out of New York and made like a lemons to lemonade type thing, and then he made it family size because he was bringing everybody with him, like being so successful that he could take care of so many other people and get them started on their own. Then moves on to Flex and saying, dangerous corners, you better pray that tomorrow rise. Rap, Sugar Ray Robinson, a boxer. Nothing sweet, y'all too out of shape to even box with me. Like it's just Flex talk, man. Just talking about how he's the greatest, and it always works with him. So yeah, that's pretty much all in the first verse. Just a lot of talking his shit. But the first couple of bars I had to touch on because that confused the hell out of me at first. Because QB and chains, QB normally means quarterback in today's era, but I see why he did what he did. Anyways, let's keep going into the chorus.
Run me the keys, run me the bees, run me that flow back. What I'm saying, top 3, I'm not number 1. How can you post that? I'm with a crowd, the city is mine. You cannot hold that. I'm not the one to go back. You fuck around me, Joe Black.
All right. So as for the chorus, Meet Joe Black was low-key a movie that was made 1 year before I was born. I haven't seen it, but my dad uses the Joe Black reference sometimes. I know Joe Black was a person that was supposed to be recently deceased in the movie, so he became the personification for death. So I guess he's pretty much just saying like meet the Reaper here. Like I'm not the one to go out and fuck with me. You're gonna meet death. It's basically all that is there. For any of my viewers that are my age or younger that may not get it, give you a little explanation there. So we're gonna keep going.
Saying people saying what's already been said. Predictions I don't listen, it's already in my head. No funny shit. Your most hungry place. I was past that at 28. Underground tapes. As my ass captain published states. As we slide in the G-Ride. I've been getting criticized. It's keeping me energized. Create with a business mind. I'm from where killers reside. Spin street. I caught the bounce before my nigga even bounced the beat. I took the hard way in the shit, man. It's the route for me.
Alright, so we got into verse 2. My favorite line here, well, not even line, it's kind of like the scheme here. Talking about, I've been getting criticized at keeping me energized, create with a business mind. I'm from where killers reside. Then he talks about, I mean, it's just kind of like persevering throughout kind of the hard times he was in. Yeah, cool. My favorite line, I'm sorry, I started a little too early, was really talking about niggas say anything in their raps because it sound good. Don't even mean what they say. Horrible outlook. Y'all ain't really about this house, niggas. Y'all was in the house with it. We don't respect fake jewelry and silly outfits. Saying these rappers ain't about the life they be rapping about. And that has been my biggest issue with rap. Like, why I don't like so many of these rappers is because they be, it's like you can tell, because I'm not from that life, but you can tell when someone's not being genuine from where they came from. Like, you can tell because they don't speak on their upbringing outside of some generic stuff that you done heard everyone else say. Which is why I could never get behind when everyone was criticizing Logic so heavy, because you could hear in his raps that shit was where he came from. Like, every part about it was stuff he lived through. And so then he transitioned to him, like, being himself. He, like, that, the first couple of stuff was what he had to be in order to survive where he was from. Then he transitioned to what he actually likes, who he actually is, and what he was afraid to be when he was young. And everyone was like, nah, fuck that, you corny, blah, 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 blah. But while we have these other rappers who shall not remain named, continue to rap about the same stuff, have no growth, and it's like, why are you constantly... If you're supposed to be this, it's supposed to be a real person, you're supposed to grow and change, and you have done had no development in your whole career. And it's like, I can't fuck with it because it's obviously fake. There's no way you were still dealing with these same situations that you was dealing with when you was 19, 18, growing up. And if you are, then that's your fault. And you need to do something else besides music because you weren't growing up. So yeah, I don't know. That's been one of my biggest issues with rapping, why I've kind of been like, it takes me so long. Why I don't listen to as many artists as a lot of people do. So it just takes me so long to really claim an artist because so much of it just feels fake. And sometimes it may not be, but it's just coming off at it because they're not as good at storytelling as they should be, and they're not as good with the wordplay as they should be, for me to like co-sign them as a great. But whatever, we're gonna move on to there. Keep the chorus going. Nas is one of them dudes that just be hit. Alright, so that was Meet Joe Black. Soulja Boy was at the end. Well, when he was criticizing Nas for when Nas said hip-hop was dead back in whatever, it was early 2000s. But, yeah. I feel like he put that in there to throw some shade at Soulja Boy and tell him that, oh, if I'm the one that killed hip-hop, why am I rapping like this? So, which, you got a point. Although, I gotta give you respect to Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy's done a lot in the game. Started a lot himself. Been a big influencer himself. So, yeah. Thought it was solid. I think I still like Speechless more. I like the beat better from Meet Joe Black. I think I like the verses better in Speechless. So, yeah. I think it's solid, though. I'm waiting for the hit. But we're only 2 songs in, so I'm not even going to continue that. So we're going to get into track number 3 called Ugly.
Test. Yes. Yeah. It's ugly outside, it's muggy, it's muddy outside. 105 Fahrenheit, under the skies. How can we hug it out after we slug it out? We should be buying nakeds, adjusting each other's crowns. That was your brother back then, how could you gun him down? Yeah.
Okay, so he opens verse 1 talking about all the violence going on in his city of New York. It's ugly outside, it's muggy, it's muddy outside. So ugly is obviously his words for violent, like saying it's a lot happening out there. It's muggy, maybe a stretch, but I'm thinking he's talking about everyone just mugging each other, how like you can tell that hostile disposition in everybody. Then saying it's muddy outside, saying that's everyone's reason for the ensuing violence. 105 Fahrenheit, talking about the heat being like, it's a bunch of ways to describe because we know it's not 105 degrees out in New York. Sorry, it's not. I'm from Texas where it's actually 105. Now he's talking about the heat, like the heat being guns, like how everyone's kind of loose with their guns out there. Then thunderous skies, just being like just describing a violent scene is what he's going for. Under his eye, teardrop, a teardrop tattoo under, like typically meaning how many bodies you have, how many families you may cry. Saying he got the ugliest cry. Then they call my city Gotham City, opposite of pretty. Gotham City being so like crime ridden that Batman has to save it and blah blah blah, and how it's just known for being a violent city, which is funny because all other Batman Gotham City parts were filmed in New York, so I mean it is New York is Gotham City in a way. But regardless, not saying it says crime ridden. I'm just saying like physically that's where they filmed Gotham City, so Gotham City is New York. But anyways. Then he talks about how can we hug it out after we slug it out, because Nas has always been a big proponent of ending this crazy amount of violence out there, that he's talking about, and talking about how black people can succeed rather than wasting the time ending other black people's lives when we all have a common enemy, you know? So, like, we should be buying acres, adjusting each other's crown. That was your brother back then, and now how could you gun him down type stuff. So yeah, we're gonna keep going.
I'm on office every day until I see the love. KD3 on the way, this just to feed the buzz. It's ugly, it's ugly.
Alright, so the end of the verse. Only thing I paid attention to, well, let me not say the only thing, the main thing I paid attention to is he said KD3 on the way, this is just to feed the buzz. So obviously there's going to be a King Disease 3, and this is him letting us know there's going to be a King's Disease 3. But yeah, I'm gonna leave the rest of that alone. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. I don't need to keep like rehash it. I mean, I guess y'all may not see it. So basically, all it talks about is like how America profits off of the pain black people go through, and how he doesn't enjoy that. Saying it's ugly. So yeah, we're gonna keep it going.
All my consciousness is ugly outside. Stay dangerous, stay out the mix. Popping back out on niggas, homie. I'm popping shit, killing with no accomplices. Watching my rear view, the envy is obvious. It's ugly outside. It's grown men jealous outside. It's grown ass women that'll have you set up to die. Okay,
so verse 2, talking more about the ugly stuff that's been happening to that black people have done to each other over the last couple of years. He opens up saying, I see the envy getting closer through my optics. Knew I had vision before I seen an optometrist. Optometrists being people that check on eyes, saying he could see. Knowing he had an idea for his life, a plan for his life beforehand. He could see what he wanted to do, what he wanted to create before he went to an eye doctor. So like just when he was young. Anyways, saying he's also saying he saw a lot in his life. And it never changed. He wrote, never altered my confidence or his consciousness. So he's like saying the violence never distracted him from the source of the black pain that he sees going all around. Then he's kind of just talking about how it's crazy how there are people like, and I hear this a lot, but you'll have a lot of grown men that hating on younger dudes coming up because they are doing what the grown men could never do in their life. And then he's also talked about the women that would potentially set you up to die because they're the same as their jealous grown men. And anyway, he touches on a lot of black celebrities that have been killed by other black people, and it's just like he's talking about how sad it is. JMJ seen him coming, pretty much. JMJ has to be Jam Master Jay, because I'm pretty sure he died in New York. Then Marvin Gaye, I think Marvin Gaye was shot by his dad, I thought. Yeah. And then Young Dolph was a recent, everyone should know about that one. He just died at a small business that he loved supporting out in Memphis. I'm just saying how ugly it is that we all kill each other. Alrighty, that was Ugly by Nas. And, I mean, I just thought it was a good way to describe some of the pain black Americans be going through. And how it makes him feel and how he hates seeing it all. So, I mean, I don't need to review as much at the end if I'm going to do if I'm going to talk about each verse. So I'm kind of just going to keep these at the end a little shorter. As for the beat, I feel like a lot of the beats right now aren't hitting right now because I think so far a lot of the songs have been about Black pain, so he's not trying to distract it by getting you caught up in a beat, it feels like. So while Hit Boy's been on all these songs, he's making a lot more subdued and less vivacious beats just so you can focus in on what Nas is actually saying here, which works. I'm just hoping we get one, like, a crazy beat from Hit Boy, because after all, he is my favorite producer. And I've loved what he's done with Nas in the past, and even the some of his other stuff. But yeah, next song is going to be 4016 Building, so let's get into it. So he came in firing on all cylinders. He rapping so far. He has an intro, or he comes in guns a-blazing with as many bars as he can put into like a 30-second clip. Here he's saying, I got so many kids in the game, it's like a gender reveal, talk about all the rappers he's birthed or that he's the idol of, or like, you know, that you can tell he's their major influence. Like Cole, for example. Then, and I don't think that's even a slug, because most of the people that come after Nas idolize Nas, and for the most part, Nas gives a lot of them their respect back, I believe. Then I got that feeling, Lionel Richie dancing on the ceiling, because that's a song by Lionel Richie. I'm not going any further than that. Hope it resembles a Van Gogh when you paint me the villain, talking about how everyone's going to make him out to be the bad guy in a lot of these situations, regardless of if that's the truth or not. Just he's saying you do whatever you need to you make him the villain just so you can be able to sleep with yourself, basically. And he's saying he hopes you paint that picture well, since you're doing all this fictional painting, I guess. Then says the hate is real, but you should know that the love is way realer. Crafty with the pen before I could pack them in. So those two verses don't relate, but the hate is real. I mean, I love that bar because honestly, as pertinent as hate is, you can only hate somebody if you've or you can only hate something if it's fallen that far from grace where you've loved it at a point in time. I mean, otherwise, while you can dislike something and you can have extreme, I don't know, on a personal level, I feel like the hate only exists whenever someone's let you down, or you've had a certain idea of them in your head and they've let you down so much. But to hate a person and themselves, or and hate what he stands for, but to hate a person themselves, I feel like it comes from a different point of, you were supposed to be this and you've shown yourself not to be. And I loved what I thought you were, and so now that you've revealed yourself to be this, I can't, this is ridiculous. I absolutely can't stand it. Don't want to be around that person. So that's where I think that comes from. But anyways, we're gonna keep going. I stopped a little early. Let's keep going. All right, so sorry, I'm gonna try not to pause as much because he's spitting here, and these are some long verses, and I don't want to have to review the whole verse. But anyways, he touches on, I mean, the chorus was I don't bang, but I'm making that crip being cryptocurrency. He's just talking about the money he makes. Then he starts off verse 2 saying, take my quotes, I'm here to give hope, start a company from one of my phrases. So it's still, it's a common theme in his album is just him talking about how much he wants to help black people create their own sources of wealth so we can all get out of poverty together, is what he's going for. Then he talks about how he hates the unnecessary violence of putting each other in, he says, body bags for no reason, young shit, blunts lit, slurring off of Seagram's hell with it. Just talking about all the other things that aren't conducive to producing life and success that we've constantly wasted our time doing is what he's talking about. So yeah, I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to try not to stop for the rest unless I really love a bar, but we'll keep going.
I'm out of here. I told niggas I was in rare form on the last album.
Alright, so not gonna lie, that's probably my favorite beat so far, 4 songs in. It's kind of like, I feel like this is a classic beat that's been used quite often. Nothing over the top, it just works here. This is kind of like the Hit Boy special to me. He takes some of the basic stuff, adds a little more bells and whistles, and then just ships it out, and it works really well. It's nice. Versus was nice. But I've noticed he stayed on the concept of black empowerment and how he hates violence. That's pretty much so far that's what the whole album's been about. And then a couple lines of how I'm flexing about how great he is, which you gotta weave that in there for rap. But like that's basically what the album's purpose is, I guess. So we're gonna move on to track number 5, called Hollywood Gangsta.
Effects of absentee fathers passed on with ease. Hope the babies eat healthier, and maybe we get wealthier. Take was not given, we asked for forgiveness, not permission. Hopefully it was written. Chopping up competition, palm ditching, bohemian growth couldn't get off the visit. I seen both ends of the ladder, ain't seen no silver platter. Fiction don't even matter, we don't act for the cameras.
Okay. Well, I don't really care for the beat here, and I hope Hit Boy didn't produce it. He did, regardless. He came in, like, man, he's coming in firing a lot. So first off, he starts with a shout out to New York on the drill scene. So he must like drill music. I love drill beats. As for the rap, there's like, it's kind of hit or miss for me, but like, it always sounds good. The beat actually sounds good for me, which is a lot of what I care about for drill. Then it kind of talking about his lifestyle and how his group, when they grew up, like how his group grew up. Talking about the lack of fathers affected them, the path of being a bastard child, being the other baby mama when this man has another family, and situations like that. Talking about things that I loved personally. The shout out to Houston. I'm not sure if Papados exist outside of Houston or Texas in general. Well, it definitely exists outside of Houston, because I know there's one in San Antonio, but I don't know how much it exists outside of Texas. But Papados, like little Cajun restaurant out here, it's great. I just took my mama there for her birthday a couple days ago. But yeah, he's just saying I would think when I Papados, man. That was just a Houston. Thank you for the shout out. We appreciate it. Houston loves it. But yeah, I'm gonna just let that ride. That part made me laugh. The rest of it was flex talk. Everything else I didn't touch on. But yeah.
The ego having head in the air. Hollywood gangster, goons with them everywhere. I'm the opposite, smooth, not spreading fear. Silver spoons never fed us. I'm on top and I'm surprised. Now I think he's too good to pull up on us. See me at a baby shower with some OGs from Corona, sipping liquor, taking photos, and I slid with a cougar. Could've pulled a young love, but I took who was choosing. That's so relaxed in the hood. I ain't come with a shooter. They asked what I'm doing. They said I was already proven. Who said I'm too comfortable around on my regular shit? You know I'm a rare nigga, but ghetto was shit. Guess they used.
Alright, so verse 2 is pretty much talking about his current life, but the real bar that I loved here is everybody lying, telling stories backwards, like my song Rewind and Store Autographing. So Rewind's probably one of my favorite songs by Nas, just because of how tough it is, like how many listens you got to do to actually get the story. Because Rewind's a song where he tells a story, but he tells the whole thing backwards, like the whole order of events backwards, and makes a song out of it. And it's just tough. Like, I can't believe he created that song. That song is probably took the largest amount of time to write. But knowing if you listen to Rewind, like, I would recommend go listening to it if you haven't. Listen to that song, then he's saying everybody lying, telling their stories backwards, like saying stuff that didn't happen, and it was just a cool line, and then cool shout out to himself. Then the rest of it is talking about his life, how he's heartless, and which he's obviously shown he's not caring about black empowerment. But say what you want to say for your songs or whatever. Then just talking about his current life, sipping liquor, taking photos. Then I slid with a cougar, saying he could have pulled a young girl, but he took who was cuter, which apparently the older woman was. And just talking his shit. You know, that's all he's been doing in verse 2. But I just like that one line.
Having head in the air, Hollywood gangster, goons with them everywhere. I'm the opposite, smooth, not spreading fear. Silver spoons never fed
Alright, that was Hollywood Gangsta. Honestly, I probably would not skip this song, but I mean, it was cool at the beginning. First verse was cool. I liked the idea of it, but outside of the first verse, I was kind of like, I didn't like the beat, and so I was like, it was cool, but I'd be a skip for me. Like, I mean, Nas did a great job rapping and all, but I don't know. It is what it is what I will say. Alright, so we're going to move into the next track, song number 6, called Woo for the Children, but Woo spelled like Wu-Tang Clan.
I don't work this hard to be around people I don't like. My perspective is maybe because I'm a specialist. Said the Knicks like a beverage, and 6-figure checks are big, but 8-figure checks and you rich. The Nas enthusiasts thinking they know what's best for me more than I know what's best for me. No rest for me. Gotta be a special.
Alright, so first verse was touching on really people like. I get this from artists a lot, talking about like, I don't know, a lot of people, a lot of fans don't want artists to change and grow with their music, and I get it, because I'm low-key that way with Drake, but I'm with that, like, because Drake went from his R&B, like, soft side to what he's at now, which is for the most part trying to be the hard guy all the time. But I don't care for that, because I feel like, to me, the switch was disingenuous. Like, I felt like he got tired of people making memes of it, about him being soft, so he went the other way. And this is the only artist I really didn't care for the switch for, and I wish he'd go back for. Because, I mean, he's still a lover boy. Like, we see it in social media all the time, so I was like, why can't you just go back to making those songs from Take Care in that era? But honestly, some of that may have to do with The Weeknd not being his own star and doesn't write for him anymore. No shade there, just being honest. But yeah, that's the only artist I'm truly like that for. For the most part, I want to see some of these artists change after like the first 2 or 3 albums, and it's like, all right, let's see where you go now. Let's see what new music and new things you can come up with. But he's talking about all these people that want him to go back to his old style. And he says they thinking that they know better for know better for his career than he does himself when he's the one actually living it, you know. But then he also touches on people saying like the people up top, like the rich people, blocking everyone else from coming up and joining them. And he's saying that's not what happened, at least in his own experiences. He said he tried probably quite often with his people that he grew up with, and they kind of left him by the wayside or didn't treat him right, and so it kind of makes you less not able but less likely to help everyone else, because if you've been betrayed by people that you thought was damn near blood, then why would you try to help people that aren't even close to you like that, knowing if your family's gonna do you wrong, then everyone can do you wrong, you know? That's what he's touching on there. So let's keep going.
There's really no other feeling having that type of control. Gotta be a special type woman to deal with.
Alright, so verse 2. Well, it starts off with pretty much a decent amount of flex talk. They talk about a life that I hope he's not living still. Chauffeur driving like a high-speed chase truck full of smack. I'm hoping you're on some bunch of smack. Pretty sure smack is heroin, if I remember correctly. I'm not into them, so I don't be knowing all their names, but I'm pretty sure smack is heroin. Anyways, hope you don't have that in your car right now, because what do you need it for? But anyways, then he moves on like some type of funny wordplay. Tallest building in Manhattan, where he's at. And sipping on Manhattans, I think is a whiskey? I know it's some type of drink, at least. Then listening to the Manhattans must be some group I've never heard of. Then Queens to Brooklyn, oh what a feeling. Okay, cool. Then he moves on saying he should have did a remix verse on Gimme the Loot for Biggie. Biggie himself, Jay, and Frank White. Okay. Should have did the remix verse on Gimme the Loot for Biggie. And the people that would be on it would be Nas, Jay-Z, and Frank White, and comparing themselves to the three pillars of current rap being Cole, Drake, and Kendrick Lamar. And then he moves on talking about some of this I don't know about this, Nas. He may be going a little too far. One girl for the rest of your life, is that realistic? Some have told me they like when you call them all types of bitches. That may be those, but I know a lot of them that don't. So I wouldn't believe those few, or just only call those few. Anyways, Then ran through a few of them, some gangster, some Christian, some with a heart full of hate for him, even with a new nigga. Okay, and then this is what I was like, alright man. They label me a sinner because I left with they soul. There's really no other feeling than having that type of control, nigga. So like, I don't know, just wanted to be in control of people that, like, I don't, to me what it came off as is you trying to control a bunch of women or have as many hooks in a woman, as many women as you can, and I'm like, I ain't fucking with all that. Like, come on, man, it ain't, you speak to, like, to me it's just so, it doesn't work with the rest of what he's had in his album. He speaks all this black empowerment stuff, all this other stuff going on, but then you're talking about, like pretty much just hurting and degrading our women the whole time, and it's like, well, what sense does that make? Like, black empowerment does not just include black males, it includes all the women with you, so I'm like, I'm not really here with this unless I'm totally like missing some type of deeper wordplay there. I'm like, at the surface I'm like, all right man, like I'm not here for that. So I'm on Genius, and I'd be like, I just want to hear sometimes what other people's thoughts were, and there's like on the little level what I said was correct, but then there was also another part where I think maybe a little bit of a stretch. But if it's not, then cool, whatever. Still think you could have worded it in a better way. They're talking about the specific words in each bar. They label me a sinner because I left with their soul. Sinner pairs with born sinner for cold, which you just mentioned earlier. And then, and born sinner was important because I was talking about, there was a song in that album, or maybe it is the title track where they, no, it has to be a song in it. Let Nas Down, where Cole's talking about Nas's influences on him. Then Control is a song from Kendrick where he speaks about being like him being the only MC that can live up to. I believe he talked about somewhere in that song about him being the only one that can live up to the legends of yesterday in rap. So yeah, if that's what he's talking about, sure, but you could have worded it better. I'm still not really messing with that. So let's play out the rest of the track.
SOP shit. Special. Very special. Recipes ODB. Tahir. Virgil.
Alrighty, that was Woo for the Children. I don't know. Another boring one for me, so I'm hoping he ends it fast as we move on to song number 7 called Wave Gods. It has A$AP Rocky and DJ Premier as the features, so we're gonna see how this one. I'm hoping this one's a little more upbeat, a little more going on with the beats. So let's move into it.
No comparison, we more solid than they are. Me and Hit Boy, they say we like the new gang star. Me and Flacco, they say we the new wave guards. Shout the back street, every home in the day, God. Wake up.
Alright, so just that chorus, if that's gonna be the chorus, cool. It says me and Hit Boy, they say we like the new gang star, old hip hop duo. I think one of them just recently died or something like that. I don't remember, but very well respected rap duo. And they're just making a comparison between Hit Boy and Nas, which is cool. But I'm pretty sure the beat they're using, I may be wrong, but it sounds like it's like a Gangstar type beat, you know. So I just thought that was pretty cool. So let's move into A$AP Rocky with the first verse.
Shine my nickel plated, then I'm starting my day. My old lady called me baby, told the part of my age. The rumors be up on the streets with no security. They know a nigga overseas. Kinda swag that's passed from your mom and dad. Brought a bag, so we cheesing on them cabinets. My monotone style like Google or Supremo cuts. Crew that drama queen go nuts. Jewels over our white hoodie like Julie and 9-8. It's I might buy you a piece of property. You might have had some joints, but ain't nothing like the Rocky saying. No comparison, we.
Alright, so far I didn't really care for A$AP's verse, and honestly Nas's verse didn't do me nothing crazy. Y'all may love it a little more than me, but so far the whole song is just, it's kind of tracking a lot of hip hop history and talking about a lot of notable names that maybe influenced Nas or was with Nas as he was growing up. Then it also touches on like kind of the lifestyle that they live currently. A lot of I wouldn't even say necessarily flex talk, but just like you talking about all these high fashion, high dollar items that they can afford, that they live with, because that's just the lifestyle they live. Which is cool and all. It just I for this is just personal preference. I like flex talk sprinkled in there. I don't like the whole song being about it, because then it's like, well, cool, we get it, you got money. If you sprinkle it in there every so often, it's like cool, just like, you know, just showing you that you can still afford, like that you still know some of these things or whatever. But the whole song being about it, I was like, that's a little played out. I could watch the Kardashians if I just want to see an obscene amount of wealth, you know. So, anyways, gonna keep it going. Oh well, actually, before I keep it going. The only common line in between the Rocky and the Nas verses was talking about investing in their friends and in their G's, as they call it, before they die, because they want to see someone else come up and make it through as well. So they're talking about that's a little black empowerment that you get here, is them trying to uplift their friends before they leave this earth. So let's continue. Alright, so that was Wave Gods. That one was okay. I didn't love it, if I'm being honest with you. Simply because of concept, the subject matter of the song. So it is what it is. So far, the first 4 songs are my favorite 4. So I'm hoping we can get 2 more. Well, because we got 2 songs left, I'm hoping to get 2 more and it could be a good project. Honestly, 1 more will be fine. Still didn't get that extreme, like that really grimy beat that I've been looking for, but we got 2 songs to hope for. So let's move into the next song, track number 8, called The Truth.
Immaculate pay stubs. Them niggas do a crime, I drop a rhyme, it's the same rush. And they been sending shots a nigga way, but they ain't struck. Can't fuck with me.
Alright, so that we're going halfway through first verse, because these verses be fucking long with Nas. So there's no way I can be able to dissect all of them the whole time. The main thing from the first half, or at least the thing that drew my eye, was him talking about like how messed up not the prison system is, but like the justice system, I guess. Like he didn't agree with the idea of people having like being hard time actually spending time in prison for non-violent crimes, which I can semi agree with, I guess, because to me, drug dealing can be a little violent in the amount of, in the way it kind of ruins and affects households. So, and I'm talking the hard stuff like the heroin and crack stuff. As for weed, to me, that's not even a drug. Well, it's a drug, but it's not any worse than anything over the counter. It's definitely not worse than alcohol. So that's a little. When I say drug dealing, I'm not referring to that. But as for the heroin and the harder stuff, I'm like, I don't know about that, because that's them ruin some families, they ruin some of my family members. So we'll let that be. Moving on from that, I guess what else they talked about here was kind of just talking about, when I'm gone, I pray my family don't get cash and burn it to the floor. Like just talking about it, he's hoping his family can managed to use the wealth he's created to sustain themselves and not just waste it, because it took him a long time to get. And that's basically all I got from it. A lot of the other wordplays, I don't know, some of them I was missing, because there was a lot going on and jumping from place to place, and I was just like, I just wasn't following it. I'm gonna be honest there. So let's move on.
Niggas ain't telling the truth enough. Y'all look like the truth to us. Hype off that little dirt you did, that ain't shit to the kid. Niggas ain't telling the truth enough. No. The greatest, be real. My team is mature. The bags are secure. Surrounded by addicts, addicted to having more.
Okay, so this, I guess I'm getting kind of the idea of the song, and it's kind of like talking to these the younger generation about some of the stuff they're doing and how they're kind of like feeling so dangerous or successful off of the life they're living, he's saying ain't none of it new to him. He done seen it all, and it ain't as great as they're making it seem. And then just talking about like how like it may not be what you want to live because you're going to have to watch yourself. You can't really trust as many of the friends as you think you have. He touches on here saying like, well, what I liked here is your reputation. You can't clean that shit up at no laundromat. So while it was playing on they're talking, thinking they're dangerous. He's talking about if your rep becomes your rep, it's not something you can. It's not as easily cleaned as it is to clean money at a laundromat. Is what his relationship there, which is notable for. And I don't know how true it is now for people to still be doing it, but to clean money at cash businesses like a laundromat because they use a bunch of coins there. But yeah, that's what he's talking about there. The flex talk here is kind of, in this verse alone, was kind of crazy though. I kind of liked it here, or just the way he was flowing about it. It worked for me. So let's continue and end off this song. Okay, so that was The Truth by Nas. This one is more in line with the first four than it is with the 5 through 7. So I'm alright with this one. His flow is crazy in this. The beat's getting, I feel like it's getting closer to the one I want, but it's my last chance to get in this next upcoming song, so let's get into it. Track number 9, the final track, called Dedicated. Let's go.
But if God save me, maybe I'll erase any vice that could potentially bring harm to me. Before I make a move, I think about it karmically. Everything come back like a boomerang. I'm black as Paul Mooney slang. Stay cool is what I tell those youngins, so they don't end up in jail. I dedicated my life.
Okay, so far, this ain't gonna be the beat I love, but I think this may be my favorite song. Sorry, something's been in my eye the last couple minutes. If you see me rubbing it a lot. I don't know, like the Carlito dying, or to me, the relationship there is similar to what like the lifestyle Ghost was living, like how he was constantly trying to lead the game with Angela, but something kept always dragging him and his family back in, which he could have still left, but he wanted to tie up some things, and that's why it led to his death. And that's kind of what he's talking about now, or in relation to himself. He's saying what he really wants is health and his sustainable businesses, along with a faithful woman. Well, like that's what he really wants to get out of life, and he's just having a hard time getting there because of all this other stuff going on. You mentioned seeing a lot of people who are acting like, or who are acting or trying to be someone they're not, and how he doesn't like that. That's kind of been almost a little bit of a recurring theme. It's happened quite a few times here. I forget what other song where he was really touching on it, or rappers, or at least I touched on it, talking about rappers rapping about stuff that they really haven't done, or that they're not really about and stuff. But yeah, he's mentioned a lot of people, whether that be Paul Mooney, Mike Tyson. I mean, while Jack Boys may not be a specific person, you get it. So, I don't know. He's mentioned a lot of different types of people in this, and I'm wondering where he's going with it. So, let's keep going.
Whole damn life, if I wanted to now, I could live a old man life. Confronted with how the hood could use more funding, more budgets for more teachers, financial literacy, more speeches. Chefs come cook for me, look what it took for me. The streets had its hooks in me. Yeah, people ask me what books to read. Destruction of black civilization, that's history.
So yeah, he's continuing this song, this idea of mentioning of just talking about Black history, and he mentions specifically the book of Destruction of Black Civilization. I know exactly what book that is. I'm trying to think of who. Yep, that's the book I thought it was. Chancellor William is who wrote it. I need to read it. I don't have it actually, if I'm being honest with you guys. Or no, what it was is I've read parts of it for classes, but I haven't read the whole thing. Anyways, yeah, that's what he's talking about, what interests him. He also talks about how Juneteenth finally came and how upset it makes him because it's late, it's overdue. And to me, I love the idea where I don't even really care that it is a national holiday personally, because you kind of mocked everything else that happened around that time, whether that be not giving black people the promises y'all gave them when you were freeing them, or just the whole process in itself. It's kind of like I'm just kind of whatever, man. I feel like white people did that or the people in power, I should say, did that to make them feel better about themselves rather than actually create sustainable change. And we'll get into that in another day. maybe, but yeah, I don't really even care that it is all it is. It mean nothing to me. So yeah, whatever. So moving on, he goes on to his black empowerment thing, talking about more budget for teachers and financial literacy and speeches, and how he can alleviate some of this stress that people are dealing with in these times. He mentions Ricky Walter, Dougie, and Dana Dane, who I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't recognize the names. Ricky Walters sounds familiar, but the other two definitely I have no clue. So if y'all know who they are, you can put your thoughts in the comments, because I don't know who they are.
My life, I dedicated test, yeah. You know, get to this point, I might have to write a script, a manuscript. Yo, ghetto manners, is you thugging me or accent, finessing me or pressing me when none of that is happening. Accessory to murder, not necessarily dancing. I'm just a G in construction, Pelly or advancing. Ratty close, we haven't spoken years, pat his coat. Check his waistline, he's spying on who has the most.
Alright, that was the second half of Dedicated. To me, it's more just lifestyle talk. I kind of like Shorty Aura, like Kimura rocking Baby Fat. I'm pretty sure Kimura, whatever her last name is, the creator of Baby Fat, if I remember correctly. Or yeah, whatever. Because I'm pretty sure she's married with Rev Run or whatever. So, or maybe Rev Run created it and Kimura was like his lead model. One of the two. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah. It was just lifestyle talk for that second, but I love the beat, and I love that when it switched, I like the beat with the second beat more than the first. As for the whole album, I don't know what I think. No, I like it. I like the 1 through 4 and 8 and 9. So I think it's solid, but I think it's missing like hits. Though the King's Disease always had a song or two that was like a hit that you could play radio play, and I think that's what this is missing. To me, none of these are hits like in that regard. I feel like Wave Gods may get the most love because it has the most notable names and whatnot, but I think that's maybe one of the worst songs on the album, if I'm being honest. So yeah, solid project. I mean, the main thing I got from this is I'm glad he's dropping a King's Disease 3, and I will be waiting for that, because that's the song I really want. I mean, that's the album I really want to hear, because the King's Disease have done well. And Hit Boy ended up producing this whole song, but it wasn't my favorite project from Hit Boy. I mean, favorite beat selection from Hit Boy, but that may have been what Nas wanted, because originally he was talking a lot of stuff, so, and he wanted you to hear all of that stuff. So I don't know, we'll see there. But that's all I got for y'all today. As for this album review. Don't forget the question of the day, being your favorite rapper of all time, and explain why, please. So without further ado, I'm going to say goodbye. Hit that like and subscribe down below, and may the Lord keep you till I see you again. You have a good one. Peace.